Melvin Purvis is obviously remembered for his accomplishments in taking down John Dillinger, but as the movie shows, there was a lot of missteps and kind of bumps in the road for him. Can you kind of detail sort of the lessons he had to learn and sort of the skills that he had to acquire in order to get that job done?
Right, well, it was the birth of the FBI, you know. There were these crazy advantages that the gangsters had at the time. The FBI agents were not even allowed to carry weapons until after the Kansas City massacre. Dillinger, you know, could rob banks and break friends out of prison, cross the state line, and he was free. Hoover was a brilliant visionary and definitely a mentor to Purvis, but ultimately somebody who, through his need for short-term success, made requests on Purvis that Purvis found to be morally abhorrent. You know, Hoover's euphemism of taking the white gloves off was something that eventually disillusioned Purvis to a point that he quit the Bureau.
Now, do you guys, when you were making this movie, did you envision it to sort of be a metaphor for stuff today? I mean, you have basically wiretapping and like, you got to torture suspects because they got to take down public enemy number one. Is that something you guys were kind of aware of?
You can't help but be aware of that. Yeah, you know, the one thing that we weren't aware of, or at least I wasn't, was, you know, the impending recession and the notion of a sense of injustice, welfare for the rich, for the corporations and the banks, and nothing for the common man, you know, which definitely there was that sense of injustice during the Dust Bowl, and that allowed for somebody like Dillinger to come along and actually be celebrated for taking back what the people felt was rightfully theirs.
Well, let's talk a little bit more about sort of the sad end to Purvis's story, because like Elliot Ness, another Prohibition-era crime buster, his story didn't end too well. Can you tell us about kind of the downfall of Purvis?
Well, Purvis, you know, I mean, I'm a supporting role in this movie, so you really just see the tip of the iceberg of his very dynamic life. But like you say, it ended very tragically. I think he remained haunted by his relationship with Hoover and their success to his dying day. I think he remained confused by Hoover's rejection of him and Hoover's vendetta against him. He pursued Purvis long after he left the Bureau, made sure that he didn't get appointments. He was meant to become a judge at one point. Hoover made sure that didn't happen. Purvis went into the military. He became a colonel for some time. He interrogated Goering at Nuremberg. He led an investigation into Patton, misconduct by Patton. He owned newspapers, radio stations, etc., but suffered from depression as well. And it's never absolutely known whether it was suicide or an accident involved in cleaning a weapon.
Now, just in closing, we are here in Chicago where the Batman films were played. You played Batman. I got to ask you, just as a Batman fan, the way that the last movie ended and the kind of the pickle that he's left in, where kind of thematically or emotionally would you like to see Bruce Wayne go in the next story?
You know, I'll leave that for Chris Nolan to tell you. You know, I don't know if we're ever going to see it or not.